Hello, hello, and welcome to Fine, I'll Talk About It, the podcast where we say the quiet parts out loud. Real talk, straight to the point, no fake positivity. I'm your host, Danielle Young, and today I'm joined by Tanesha Moody. Tanesha is an ICF certified coach, keynote speaker, and founder of Full Out Coaching, where she equips multi passionate leaders and purpose driven teams to live, lead, and thrive full out. On today's episode, we are talking about finding and living your purpose, including practical frameworks and personal experiences that help individuals discover, name, and pursue their unique purpose in life. Tanisha, welcome to Fine, I'll Talk About It.
Thank you so much for having me, Danielle.
Thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, I feel like finding your purpose is a pretty big topic right now since a lot of us kind of feel lost. Like, I know I'm one of those people. Like, what am I doing with my life? you know?
Yes.
And I hear that a lot from people. Like, I don't know what I should be doing with my life. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, about your background, and how you got into helping people find their purpose?
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. And I completely resonate with so many things that you just shared because, helping people figure out their lives was not what I thought I would be doing with my life, but that is exactly where I am right now.
yeah.
I first started off doing professional theater. So I have a background first in dance and then transitioned into being on stage, met the stage manager for Wicked on Broadway, and that kind of laid the foundation for like, oh, I should go into professional theater as a career. Of course, my parents were like, oh, okay, I guess that's an option.
we wanted you to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Honestly, like without that background, I know I wouldn't be the person I am. I am today. I wouldn't be where I am today. And honestly, theater set the trajectory of my career in a way that I hadn't even imagined, since it opened doors for me to do corporate events and have global leadership opportunities at Salesforce, Marriott, Disney, Under Armour, leading teams and helping to make impact in the event space, because at the end of the day, events are just theater productions on fire. Is kind of
yeah.
how I like to describe them.
Perfect. Yeah.
So interesting. But I would say honestly, that path, that career path really illuminated that the favorite thing about all of those experiences were helping develop people. I was building teams. I was helping my direct reports and skip reports figure out what was important to them, navigate challenges, accomplish their goals. And that was really what lit me up when it came to my professional roles. So when I was actually laid off from Salesforce, being a director there, I had an executive coach and she helped me to unpack and realize that. And of course, when you find yourself without a job, it's like, all right, I guess the best thing I can do is go to Costa Rica and learn Spanish and figure out my life, which is of course what I did. So
Not a lot of people would go that route, but that's cool.
again, my parents were like, I guess this is where we are. but But honestly, that journey, that path opened up these frameworks that I've had a chance to create. I went on a journey of not knowing who I was, where I was supposed to be. I was attaching my identity to my previous roles, and I had to do the unpacking and do the work of figuring out what really is my purpose. What are my values? What am I here to do? What impact am I supposed to make? And that laid the foundation for the frameworks as well as the formula to help people to find, name, and live their purpose, Ignis. So it's been a journey, but I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that sounds amazing. I mean, not everybody can go to Costa Rica and learn Spanish and discover their life's purpose, but I mean, I want to do that. Now I'm like, do I really know what I'm doing with my life?
I get it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people right now are just not knowing what direction
Mhm.
to go in. And so many of us, I know before I started coaching, I really sat down and I'm like, what is it that I'm even passionate about? What do I really want to do with my life. I mean, I'd wanted to be an attorney since I was 5, but, you know, that didn't work out. I ended up, getting really sick and had to leave law school, but, it's like roadblock after roadblock kept coming up. So I'm like, there's gotta be something else. So what's your advice to those people who are like, I really wanna make a change, but I don't know what I wanna do. And I know that I have a bigger purpose in this life, but I don't know what it is. You know, what are your tips? What are your frameworks that, help people discover their purpose?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And that resonates so much with me, especially I consider myself a multi passionate person. And I love working with other multi passionate individuals, the folks that kind of get lit up from a lot of different things. Maybe they don't have a traditional career path. There's so many things that spark joy for them. And I would first speak to those individuals and say, there's nothing wrong with you. Nothing is nothing is wasted. You are exactly where you're meant to be. All of those experiences are honestly the foundational blocks of what your purpose is. Those different roles that you had were different assignments along the way that helped illuminate where you're supposed to go. And when I created Ignis, I came with that purpose in mind for myself because so many of us get tied up thinking that our jobs, that's our purpose, but it's not. Our jobs, our titles, even our roles of being a mom or a wife or a husband or parent, like those are all fabulous things, but that's still not your purpose. It's a role that is meant to help you fulfill your purpose, is how I've been able to divide it out for myself. So, getting the right context around like what purpose actually is, like what is that real meaning for existing, that fire inside us, which is what Ignis actually means in Latin, is where we really need to start. We need to recognize that purpose is different from assignments. Assignments are going to change, they're going to adjust, they're going to fluctuate depending on the season we're in or where we find ourselves. And right now, whatever hats that you're wearing right now are all assignments that are still working towards tearing up towards your purpose. So even if it doesn't feel like it right now, I want everyone to know that you are living your purpose right now. Like purpose, we're not going out and discovering it. I'm sorry, but a stork is not going to come to your doorstep and drop it off. I'm a Christian. I was waiting for Jesus to be like, here's your purpose. And he never did that. I'm sorry. That's just not how it works for many
I'm
of
so disappointed. No stork? It's not just gonna fall in my lap? Like, oh, you're crushing my dreams.
so sorry, but that is not the case for most of us. But that doesn't mean it's not out there, that it doesn't exist for us. Like everybody, if you are still alive, you have a purpose. You're meant to be here. There's a reason that you're here. And if you already believe that, that's the first piece of the Ignis framework and formula that I've created. And it starts with a spark, which is believing I exist for a reason. I am here for a reason. And then we move on to our fuel, really understanding and unpacking like our wiring. Like what makes me unique? What are my gifts, my strengths? What am I just kind of innately good at? So if you can do that work of figuring out, all right, what lights me up and why? How am I able to navigate this world with ease? Like, that's the second part of really unpacking your purpose. And then next, you look through your story. As I mentioned, you've been living your purpose all along. We just might not have realized it. We didn't have the words for it. It's not in a nice, neat sentence. It's probably comes out as like a Hamlet soliloquy or monologue, and that's okay. But you need to unpack and recognize, like, all right, what has been my struggles? Like, what are the things that I've had to navigate and overcome, maybe repeatedly? What are some things that were just blessings in disguise? Uncovering that, which is related to your kindling. And then finally, we unpack our flame, which is who we're actually meant to serve. All of those components are what I've had a chance to consolidate down and recognize that these are the things that make up our purpose. That one single piece of truth that we can hang on to that's not going to change like those assignments are. And if we live that, we're living a life full out.
I love that. I mean, it's so multifaceted too. I think a lot of people just, like you said, tie themselves to one thing. And And, they're like, well, I don't even know what lights me up anymore. They get stuck in that identity. And sometimes it really takes an identity shift to make us learn about ourselves. I know for me it did. And I feel like there's so much external validation that goes along with it. Like you said, my parents were like, okay, well, this is where we are now. I feel like, a lot of people see that and they're like, well, then I can't do that then. If I don't have that external validation, then is it right? Is it what I should be doing? Is it what I could do? I mean, there's a lot of questions around this.
Yes, that is so true. That external validation honestly can be the reason that some of us stay stuck and don't even do some of the work. Like, we don't even try to figure out what our purpose is because we actually think no one's going to understand us, or they're not going to want to support us along the way. And I think I've actually kind of discovered a little hack on this. And don't come after me if this doesn't work for everyone. um, but I think, at least this is true for me, when it comes to purpose, not everyone is going to understand it. I've heard sometimes even from my family, from my parents, from my friends, from people in my circle, and they'll say this phrase of, "That couldn't be me." Like, "What you're doing, Tanisha, that could not be me." And I think that's actually the hint that you're probably pushing on purpose. You're probably doing an assignment that is actually meant for you to do. And of course, no one's going to understand it if it's meant for you to do. So honestly, I might start taking that, if you're feeling that, as some kind of like, oh, I'm here. This is confirmation. That's the validation there. I know it's reverse. I know it's a little convoluted, but thinking through that, oh, somebody didn't understand it. Someone's not supporting it. Let me explore this a little bit more. Let me be a little bit curious about it and see if this purpose, these assignments, if they align with my gifts, if they align with the things that light me up, if they align with the people that I want to help. If those things are checked, I say go for it. Like, they're giving you permission to do it when they say that couldn't be me.
Mm, I love that. Yeah. I mean, we can't control what other people think, and other people don't live in your body and in your mind. So, they can't control what you do or what you don't do, you know, and if you want to do it, do it. What if I know, and I'm speaking for myself here too, when I did not know that certain things I possessed were gifts, and I saw them as not burdens, but issues or problems that I had to overcome, or, certain circumstances that I wasn't proud of. What advice for those people? If I'm like, I don't have any gifts. I don't have any. I've just been through a bunch of, crap in my life. How do we identify a gift?
I love this question because I felt that as well. And there's a lot of different approaches that I've recognized for myself, that I've seen my clients do, and for the early readers that have gone through the Ignis framework ebook already, where you actually do discover your gifts. What I have discovered is that, yes, everybody has a gift, at least one, but usually more than one, I promise you. And throughout the ebook, there are a lot of questions posed at, like, what comes naturally to you? What have others maybe complimented you on? So there's a lot of soul searching that we can do to uncover our gifts, is what this framework has helped other people do. In addition, I encourage people to actually get some external information, gather some data and feedback from others, whether that's a boss, a coworker, as well as those friends and family members that know you. They probably recognize some gifts that you don't. I know for myself, when I decided that I was going to pursue coaching, that I was going to get my certification, I remember sitting with one of my friends who also was laid off from Salesforce. And she was like, yeah, coaching sounds great for you. Like, I always feel a sense of calm and peace with you. Like, you can always tell that you're actively listening to me. And I hadn't realized any of those were gifts for me. Like, I love talking. So I had
Yeah.
no idea that I was actually good at listening too. So, but even as I look back on my youth, like I was always curious as well. And that's something that I've recognized is a gift, this innate curiosity that I have. So as we ask other people, sometimes other pockets of gifts come up in that moment. We might have to go backwards. We might have to spend some time with our younger self and like uncover what was that person, that version of ourselves good at. And that helps to kind of uncover some gifts too. And then on the piece in terms of like the frustrating, the hard, the struggles, which all relates to that kindling piece, which are, I like to call it the key stories, the formative stories, those highs and those lows and the patterns that come up, that can be a little challenging and honestly a little triggering sometimes, depending on what some of us have gone through. I know for myself, something that I noticed as a pattern was navigating rejections. Like, there
Mm.
has been so much rejection throughout my life and even of course like applying for jobs and dating and of course I've been on the receiving end and also on the giving end side of it too and of course being in the performing arts rejection was as a standard thing. Being an entrepreneur, I don't think I've experienced so much rejection, like the cold emails, all of these things. So I noticed
Mhm.
that this was a pattern for me. And no one likes rejection. But it was something that I recognized I could use the way that I have reframed rejection, the stories that I have navigated, and the things that I've acquired from going through rejections, and I can use those things to serve somebody else. So that's what we're also looking for. How in those troubling situations throughout our lives, what can we kind of glean from it, those learnings that could potentially help somebody else not go through that, or if they are going through it, can help them get through it a little bit more efficiently.
Mm. Wow, yeah, that's really good advice. I mean, I've read a lot when it comes to, finding purpose and, the steps that it takes. But it's interesting. It's like one thing to read it and then one thing to hear it explained because not everybody can understand that, our perceived weaknesses are also probably our superpowers.
100%.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it goes down to I I know for me, I was afraid to find my quote purpose because it's like, okay, well then what comes next?
Mm,
If I've already found my life's purpose, then what? Is that it for me? Is it a dead end? Like, do I just do that for the rest of my life? Like, I'm 46, I've got hopefully another 40 years to go, but you know, what then?
goodness, yes. Thank you so much for sharing that because I think that's what makes at least how I have started viewing purpose so exciting is that the living the purpose, like we found it, we can name it. It's a nice short sentence, which is what, Ignis helps you do. But that living piece of it, that's where it gets really fun and exciting. And that's why I feel like it's so important to separate purpose and assignments. Because if we have this whole beautiful umbrella of purpose that we know, all right, this is how I have to use my gifts. These are the stories and the things that I went through. And now I get to serve this group of people. We have that nice and succinct and nice sentence. Now we have this honestly, it's kind of like a book title, if you want to think of it that way. We have this book title, and now we have all these different chapters and subchapters and all these different ways that we can fulfill this purpose. That's where the assignments get to come in. Because when you look at your purpose, there's probably so many different ways that you can probably fulfill your purpose. Right now, maybe it's as a coach or as a writer or as a speaker. Right now, it might be as a mom or as a dad, it might be as a daughter or a son. But some of those roles are going to change and fluctuate. But that doesn't mean your purpose disappears. That just means the assignment is changing at this point. So now it's like, all right, I know that I'm meant to serve these people. I'm supposed to use these gifts. How can I do that right now where I am in this job that I hate? How can I fulfill my purpose right now? What assignment can I take on in this role to help me further my purpose alone? Oh, this family, like it doesn't feel as welcoming. I'm not always happy here. All right, well, what assignment in that family can you take on to help fulfill your purpose? That's what makes it so exciting. Because there's no limitations really in terms of what your assignment can look like. If you're super clear on your gifts, how your story fits in and how it serves other people and who you're meant to serve, it's clear that like I can fulfill my purpose when I'm 102, because I hope I get a whole bunch more years too, Danielle, coming out and I can be there. And I don't want to work all my life, but I still know I'm going to be living with purpose. So I want to be able to be 103, however old I am, still fulfilling my purpose, still walking in an assignment in that moment. And it might not be making any money, but it's still serving the people that I'm meant to serve while I'm using my gifts at the same time. Oh, I can't wait. I have no idea even what they might look like what the different assignments might be. Like, oh, there could be so many different fun ones that come up that hadn't even considered before that still help me to fulfill my purpose.
Yeah. It is kind of exciting to think about, I mean, as this business, I don't know what the future holds for me, but it's like, you just kind of take, one day at a time. And I feel like things do present themselves to you. And I feel like the things that you want to do or that fit your purpose are, drawn to you as well. And they sort of show up. And I don't know who said this, but um really good advice that I started taking was it's either a hell yes or it's a hell no.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Right.
And so many things in my life, I'm like, do I really want to do that for no, that's a hell no for me. But then I feel like sometimes, like as I'm getting older, like those things change. And things I said hell no to before, I'm like, maybe this could work. But it's not purpose, right? It's the assignments, is what you're saying. Like the
Mm-hmm.
assignments change, but purpose is still sort of like this umbrella, if I'm understanding this correctly.
Yep, you're understanding it perfectly. And I love how you put that into perspective too, because I think that gives us like permission to say no to the things that don't align with our purpose. Like we don't have to take on every single assignment. And
Yeah.
as I was doing this work and I was creating this framework, I reached out to a couple people and I got a little bit of pushback in terms of the who piece of it, which relates to, if you're looking at the framework, this is the flame piece of it, like who you're meant to serve, who you're meant to light up. And people were like, I want to serve and help everybody. I'm like, well, that's great. I do too. Like, I mean, I'm Christian, love God, love people. Like, I want to do that. But we can't
Yeah.
we can't do that. We can't take on every assignment. And you're going to resonate with certain people and you're not going to resonate with others. Like you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And sometimes someone needs someone that maybe has gone through the same struggles that you have gone through or needs your gift in a unique way. And when you're able to kind of narrow down as broadly as you want to that bucket of people who you're meant to serve, that makes it a little bit easier too to feel like, okay, this assignment is for me and this one's okay to say no. And the beautiful thing about all of this though is if everyone is living their purpose full out, they are navigating it, serving the people that they're meant to serve, not everybody, but their groups of people, that causes a ripple effect. So your people might end up serving these people. And the next thing you know, you did end up helping everybody if you really think about it. But that comes from giving ourselves permission to say no to some assignments and to take the ones that actually are for us that help us fulfill our purpose.
Yeah. And I feel like it's hard to say no though. It's
Mm-hmm.
because those of us who are multi-passionate, we want to try everything. And And that's where burnout comes from is, we just want to do and do and try. And, we want all our hands in all the cookie jars. So it's like, how do we pick? And I don't know about you, but for me, it was like, what feels the most aligned right now in this moment?
Yeah.
And I feel like some people miss that. They think more logically than they do with feeling. And it's more of like this willingness to please more than this willingness to serve. And I don't know if you've seen that with the people that you've worked with, but I know for me, a lot of my stuff came up from, okay, well, if I do this, then these people will like me instead of, well, if I do this, I'll like me.
Mhm.
And when you go out of alignment with yourself, so much of you can get lost in not living your purpose and said what we're just living in an assignment, right?
That is so true, and that resonates so much because that's I feel a lot of people are. They're living in an assignment that was potentially placed on them, um, that feels like now that's not just my purpose, but it's also my identity, it's who I am, it's what I value, and there's just this whole cascade of really living a life that is maybe for your parents if they wanted you to be a doctor, and now that doctor is like your identity and what you value and how you make every single decision. That's an assignment that you're living as your purpose, and that's not what we're created to do here. And not discrediting anybody that feels very strongly for their roles and their jobs, but, what happens when that goes away? Because 'Cause I've had that
Yeah.
happen, and it honestly put into perspective just how off center I was living my life. Um, I do feel like now having the clarity on my purpose has built a structure of alignment that allows me to say yes to things that are for me and no to things that aren't. But it also is just one leg of it. And this is actually where my clear method framework, which is all about how I actually kind of coach from, um, that's where all of that kind of plays a role. And clear stands for to clarify your purpose, to live your values, embody your identity, align with courage, and then ripple your impact. So when I'm talking about Ignis, that all relates to clarify your purpose. And aligning with courage is when you're navigating like fear and rejection. So I use this as something that I needed to do because I needed to understand who I was at my core. I need to understand my purpose. I also need to understand my values so I knew the guardrails that I had to navigate life. So it's a lot of different pieces that come together to make that alignment clear. And that purpose piece is really just one leg of it. I know for myself, it was challenging to recognize what was really most important to me when I was building my life on the career that I thought I was meant to have, that was more like something flashy to show for my friends and my family and such. My values weren't present in that. My identity was wrapped up in a role. Like that is not a place that I wanna go back to, and it's definitely a place that if someone's already there, I wanna serve them and help them to get out of it so that they can live their life full out and make the impact that they're supposed to make.
Yeah. I love that. And two, stripping away that identity that you have like wrapped yourself up in can be so scary. I mean, especially if you've lived it for so long. Some people are addicted to that identity
Mhm.
and they hold on to it so tight like, no, I can't be anyone or anything else. This is who I am at my core. I've heard this a lot. Like, this is who I am at my core. And it's like, is it really? Like, what are you really holding on to? Are you holding on to an expectation? But it's getting rid of that identity that, I mean, that can really create identity problems.
Yes, 100%. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's honestly heartbreaking to coach with individuals, to have people reach out on social media after I post something and for them to say to me that, "Hey, I realized that I've built my life on this identity based around my career. Like, where do I go from here? What do I do?
Yeah.
And it's and I feel for them because I know I've been there. I've been there
Yeah.
with, like, this image of myself that wasn't who I really was.
Yeah. I feel like all of us have been there at one point or another. We've all had that feeling of, okay, I know what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is who I'm going to be, and no one's going to stop me. And then you get smacked upside the head, and you're like, okay, uh, what just happened? And, now you're left with, okay, that's not going to work anymore.
Mhm.
Now, where do I go? What do I do? And that whole identity shift can be really tough navigating that, especially if it's tied into what your family wanted for you. My family for a while was like, "No, you can't move away because if you do, then who are we without you?"
Yeah.
And you get so attached to these expectations from other people, and that's that external validation, and it's like, "Well, who am I if I don't have this? If I'm not this person, then who am I?" And it's so heartbreaking because I feel like so many people have so much potential and they're not living it to their fullest out of fear.
Mhm.
Fear's such a huge driver. Fear out of the driver's seat. This is, not the HOV lane. You don't
Yeah,
have to have fear as your, passenger. It could be just you.
right. Yes. Yeah, that really resonates. I know so the A in the clear method is aligned with courage, and that first came about for myself because I recognized that rejection and fear of rejection were really it was holding me back. It was preventing me from actually moving forward and being the type of person I felt like I was supposed to be, especially after unpacking like who I am at my core and my identity and my purpose and my values. And now I have all these things. And then fear and rejection are just sitting there like, okay, so what? Like you're not gonna do anything. So
Yeah.
oh my goodness. I went through a season of honestly, especially after being laid off, uh, like putting my CV out there, my resume out there, trying to find roles. Of course, receiving rejection letters after that, weird things happening where I would make it to multiple rounds and then like the person that was I was hiring for me would get laid off themselves or like the role was eliminated and all of these weird things contributing to rejection and then of course rejection in my relationships and friendships as well. So it just kind of felt like it was hitting me from multiple different sides. And I started to work through reframing rejection and it's something that I've written a lot about. And my reframing is like you weren't rejected, your offer was. So separating myself from the offer of what I
Mm,
was putting on the line, that made it a little bit easier for me to be like, all right, I can navigate rejection. I can put myself out there. I can align with courage here. But I needed to do that not just with myself, but also in community too. I had coaches, I had my friends, I had my family. And the same thing I'm recognizing is true for fear too. Sometimes it's easier to do something afraid when you have some backup there. And that might just be like, let me text my friend. I'm about to do a scary thing. And they're like, yeah, do it. Or like,
yeah.
oh, friend, I just got rejected today. Yeah, that's awesome. You needed that. No, good job. Like putting yourself out there. And I feel like fear, rejection are things that we can navigate around, but we need some support sometimes. And that's okay.
Yeah. And it's hard to ask for that
Hmm.
support and that help. And the thing that helps me with rejection is I always tell my clients this. Rejection is protection.
Mm,
Rejection is redirection. It means that thing is not for you. It means that there's something else out there that's better for you. And that's how I started dealing with rejection. And I know I'll post videos on social media and I'll get like nasty comments and I'm like, yes, they're helping my algorithm.
Yes.
Someone saw it. Yay. I mean, it's like if we throw a party for every time someone says something negative about us, it's like, cool. My message is still getting out there.
Mhm.
Someone at least saw it. I published a book earlier this year and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm going to get so many one-star reviews." I just know. And a friend of mine was like, "So what does it mean if you get a one-star review?" And I'm like, "That my book sucks." And they're like, "No, that one person didn't like it, but they read it."
Yeah. Woo!
And I'm like, "That's true." And they bought it. Not only did I get paid for that negative review, but it's a review and it's helping people find the book. So
Mhm.
it's about finding interesting and innovative ways that feel good about celebrate the negative. And I realize not everything negative can be celebrated, but stuff like that, it's like I tell my husband, because my husband, he went through a 9 rounds of interviews and then ended up not getting the job. And he's like, why do I do this? Like, why do I put myself through this? And I'm like, well, think about it. You're gaining skills.
Mhm.
You're getting in front of people. And it just means that this job wasn't for you. There's something better, but you needed to go through this because maybe there's a learning lesson out of it.
Yes.
And there was. They contacted him like 2 years later and they were like, oh, hey, yeah, you interviewed with us. And he is like, I got to tell them no. So, I mean, it's like, let's just find little ways to get over that. Rejection isn't a negative thing. It just tells you that that's not the thing for you.
Yes. So true. It's information, it's data,
Yeah.
and I feel that honestly, the more that we put our offers in the line, the more we get to learn, we get to grow from that. We get to uncover more of those little ways that we can navigate rejection. Like, oh, I got like my 1,000th rejection on this, and it didn't take as long for me to bounce back and put the next offer on the line. That's learning. That's
Yeah.
some resilience. That's practice so that you are able to be efficient when it comes to putting these offers. And maybe there's some feedback um, that comes with that, or at least like it's an answer. You're not ghosted. There's no uncertainty. Like there are gifts that are built into rejection. And to your point about that's what life is sometimes about is finding these little ways that we can reframe, see things from a different perspective to help us navigate and live our lives, but also to help other people too because somebody might need to hear that, you know, that rejection um, is redirectional. I usually don't say that personally because I actually feel like we always need the rejection probably. We probably need that no to get to somewhere else. And it doesn't like discredit like our past work and the things that we put out there. Like it's more kind of fuel for our growth too. So you never know like what that experience might lead to for somebody else. So I love the opportunity to find different ways to see things from different perspectives to help my clients see things from different perspectives. And you never know the ripple effects that might have.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. With the whole rejection piece of it, it's just forming new relationships with with things that happen to us in the world. I mean, we're all humans having a human experience and things are going to happen that aren't going to be all rainbows and roses. And it's just finding a way to form new relationships with that don't destroy your mental health, your identity, that don't that you don't take on as a defining trait about yourself. And I love what you said. It's like they're not rejecting me, they're just rejecting my offer. And so it's so easy to take that on though, personally.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to say, well, they're just rejecting me. They don't like me. There's something wrong with me.
Right.
It's so sad that we that's the first thing that we go to 99% of the time is taking it personally.
Yeah. Yes. I know for especially being a creative, like, you put your heart and soul in so many things that you make, like your choreography, your delivery on stage during a performance, that audition. Like, it does sometimes feel personal that I am receiving the rejection.
Yeah.
And I've written about this a lot. And even for like some of the even heavier rejections than that, when it seems like, especially because some of my friends are a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, and when they've come out, and sometimes it feels like their family has rejected them.
Yeah.
And when I was writing, about a lot of these things, I approached them, and of course, there was some pushback and some fun conversations and discussion about them. And I challenged them and I said, "Were they really rejecting you, or were they rejecting your companionship, you, your offer of being a part of the family?" Like, I it's something challenging to deal with, especially because it does feel like I'm personally being rejected.
Yeah.
And I know for myself and some of the writing that I've done, because I've experienced some painful rejections too that felt personal. The only way that we can kind of move forward from that is to recognize that they rejected our offer. It's not a reflection of who I am at my core, my identity, my value. All of that is separate from the offer that I put on the line. And that takes first recognizing who you are. If your identity is, I am a straight woman, or I am a black person, all those things, which, yes, of course, contribute to like who you are at your core and how you show up in the world. If that is the only stake that your identity is on, if you haven't done the work of understanding who you are at your core, then yes, it is going to feel like a personal rejection.
Mm. Yeah. So the moral of this story is you have to do the work. You have to embrace the suck and do the work and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because living your true purpose, if you're not living your true purpose, what are you doing to yourself? What are you doing to your mental health? What are you doing to your nervous system? What are you doing to your body? What are you doing to your relationships? What are you doing to your future relationships? And I'm not just talking about partnerships. I'm talking like friends, family. What are you contributing if you are not living authentically? And I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but it's true. If you're not living your true purpose, you are out of alignment with yourself. And that is who you're projecting into the world. So we have to do the work. It's imperative that we do the work. So, what does it mean to live full out?
I think the best part about living full out is that it looks different for every person. Like, if you are living your life according to your purpose, according to your values, you know who you are at your core, your identity. You are navigating those scary things such as fear and rejection, and you're rippling your impact, making a positive contribution on the world. However that looks to you personally, that's living full out. I know being a dancer, like, we would be in dance class, and sometimes our instructor would be like, "All right, you can mark it this time. You can just kind of go through the motions, just get to the spot. Your arm doesn't have to be all the way up. Your leg can be at 45 instead of 90 degrees." That was marking it. But living full out means you were doing performance quality, like ready for a stage. Like, if an audience was there, you were showing your emotion. Everything was big and grand, and you were giving it your all. So when it comes to living full out, that's how you want to live. You don't want to mark it. You want to do it as if this is the only time that you're going to have a chance to live, because I don't know if you've heard this or not. It really is the only time you're going to have a chance to do this life. So why not
Yeah.
go full out with it? Do the work and live the life that you're meant to live. Serve the people that you're meant to serve. and leave that impacting legacy that you're meant to. That's living full out.
Mm, I love it. I love it. Live full out. Do whatever you need to do. Small steps start today. Live full out so you can be who you are meant to be in this world because the world needs your true self. We all need our true selves. Thank you, Tanesha, so much. If someone wants to work with you and live full out, how can they find you?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun and exciting.
Yeah.
I am on social media. You can find me at Tanesha L Moody, also TaneshaLMoody.com too. My Ignis book is available on there for anyone that is looking to find, name, and live your purpose. It's been a resource that has been super helpful for myself, my clients, and a lot of the early readers that I've had the chance to provide it to. And I hope that it helps other people get a little bit of clarity, start doing the work. Because as you said, if you don't do the work, it's impossible to live full out.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, there's no easy path to living full out. I wish there was. I wish it was like, okay, snap my fingers. I'm cool now. But
Yeah,
no, life just doesn't work that way.
no.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on. Listening to this, please go check out the book, and I will put all of the links in the show notes here. So sure to go there. And thanks for hanging out with us on Fine, I'll Talk About It. If today's episode got you thinking, hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want more real talk, more perspective shifts, and more finally someone said it moments, leave a quick review. It helps other people find the show. You can connect with me on Instagram at Inspired Action Wellness or my website, inspiredactionwellness.com, for more conversations like this. And I will see you in the next episode.